Welcome back everyone to the Sahyadri webinar series, a visual journey across 200 historical forts in the beautiful Sahyadri across 15 different traverses shown over here. Today we'll be looking at the forts in the Selbari-Dolbari ranges, the second part. We have some 20 plus forts over there, covered some 10 already in the previous session. The videos are posted in HD on my YouTube channels shown over there. You can subscribe to always get the latest updates, as well as my blog ultrajourneys.org, and a 10-minute preview gets posted on Insta TV and Facebook. Yesterday we covered already a part of the Selbari-Dolbari range. We started at Premgiri, proceeded to Scholler, Pimpla, Bilai, and then proceeded to the big ones of Saler, Salota, Muller, Morigat and Harigat. Today we'll proceed further along the same range through Navigat, Mangitungi, Nandin, also called as Pisol, Dermal, and then get down to 4 smaller watchtowers of Bishta, Karga, Dundai and Ajmera. The Selbari is a mountain range located in Nasik district, spanning east-west. The hills form the northernmost extent of the Sahyadris and serve as the natural boundary between Nasik and Dhule districts. The range is gifted with a number of peaks, including the only 2-pinnacle peak of Mangitungi, rising at a considerable height of 1,330 meters. Traditionally, the range is limited to the hills sprawling north of the Mossam River, but extended definitions also include those south, which are connected to the former in a semicircular loop. This shortest southern extension is known as Dolbari, named after the village settlement around their base. Okay, so Dolbari compromises of Saler, Muller, Mora, Hargat and Salota forts, where Selbari compromises of Mangitungi and Navigat. Navigat is also called Ratangat, not to be confused with Ratangat near the Bandardara reservoir. On the way to the top we can find water tanks and a temple. The steps are still there, but the entrance has been completely destroyed. The fort has a narrow apex, almost like a pinnacle. Welcome to Navigat here, rock-cut steps leading up to the top of the fort. You can see some pretty big water reservoirs cut on top of the fort here. Not much space on top, it's a fairly small place. Again, getting down these rock-cut steps is pretty tricky, especially during the monsoons. Next, proceeding on to Mangi and Tungi. These are pilgrim places of the Jain people. Along the base of Mangi Pinnacle are 356 carvings of Mahavir, Adinath, Pashvanath, Hanuman, Vali, Sugriva, etc. There are 3 caves at Tungi. There is the temple of Tungiri in one of the caves, and there are 99 carvings of Buddha in these caves. Here you can see the modern day staircase built up all the way to the initially Mangi Pinnacle on the left and soon to be visible Tungi Pinnacle on the right side. The twin pinnacles are on a pretty narrow kind of magnetic dike, you can say, a lava erupture through a linear fixture. Beautiful steep rising pinnacle here of Tungi, on top of which this pilgrim kind of staircase is built all around the pinnacle. From Tungi here, looking back at Mangi, you can see the narrowness of this dual pinnacle. Unique signature, these two.
Running from Tungi to Mangi, 2 spiritual peaks north of Nasik. Looks like the Great Wall of India. Behind us is Tungi.
Here we can see some of the statues inside those rock cut caves at the base of Mangi and Tungi. Then on the way further, as the sun is rising again, I'm proceeding further towards Pisol-Nandun Fort, part of the four forts in line on the Galna hill range, along with Dermal, Kankrala and Galna. Much less history is known about this fort. The only structure in good condition is a small mosque on the western edge of the fort. A night stay at the fort can be made in the caves or the mosque on top of this fort. You can see some big rock cut reservoirs again at the base while climbing up a small trail to the fort. Here at the entrance of the fort, the fortified entrance, we can see some beautiful rock laid out staircase. And along the side of the hill again, big rock cut caves with a small temple there on the right side. Was one of the bat-infested caves there. On top of Pisol-Nandul, we can still find some broken down structure here. And the only building there. Some work is in progress. I saw quite a few local villagers digging trenches, probably for increasing the water ground level to put more vegetation on top of this hill. Next is Dermal Fort, located 201 kilometers from Nasik in the same district. Though this fort is important in the Nasik district, it is less visited by trekkers. There are very few remains of old buildings on the fort, much less history about the fort is known. Here we can see the barren hill, already quite dry. Later on in November, the trail runs up there. And at the top of the fort, not much is to be found, except for one underground reservoir here cut out from the mountain. Voila, at the end of the day, it's time to refresh the calories again, the lost calories, driving hundreds of kilometers, climbing 6 to 8 forts a day. In this climate is pretty intense, so some nice chicken curry with parota and a nice cold beer keeps the hiker going. Next on the list is Kankrala, situated south of Galna Fort. Very little history is known about this fort. This was captured by the British under Colonel Wallace in 1818. There are many rock-cut water cisterns on top of the fort, as well as in the rocks near the gates. The water near the gate is potable. There are a few caves near the entrance. The entrance is in dilapidated condition. There are no structures on the fort except for a few ruins. Again, midday climbing up in the heat was quite a challenge on these barren rocks. Following a small trail here leading up to the top. Again, we can find pretty big caves. I mean, side rock cuts, caves, reservoirs at the top, near the top of the fort. Here we can see the fortified wall and gate entrance leading to the top of the fort, kind of the top of a small gully through which we climb up to the fort. More water tanks on top of this fort. Next we proceed to Galna, which was a major fort in the South Kamdesh area of Maharashtra. The fort was an important fort in the Burhanpur-Surat trade route. This is one of the forts with the bastion and entrance in good condition. The fort is located on the hills between Malegaon and Dhule. Here we can see a fort in pretty much good condition. This is the main entrance. On top we can find some pretty big water reservoirs again and some structures of old buildings. You can see probably along with some recent renovation, the fort is in excellent condition. Major staircase leading up through multiple entry gates. Beautiful constructed on the inside. Here one of the upper entry gates. And here one of the balconies with beautiful views on the base village below the fort. Voila, on the next way I end up at the end of the night along on a small roadside temple where I settle down for the night as I don't find any hosts, eat up some packed food and then ready for the day to visit 4 smaller watchtowers in this district, starting with Bishta. The Balgan range of Nasik district has many well-known forts of Salota, Mulir, Delmar, Salir and Pisol. However, there are also some lesser known forts, like Bishta, Karga, Dunda and Ajmera. These 4 forts vested on the Dundeshwar mountain range were used as checkposts. The fort is also locally referred as Bijo Tiaja Kila. Not much, this is kind of no man's land, not much of visible used trail to these kind of lesser known forts. Here on top of Bishta you can see some remains of an ancient structure. One beauty about these lesser visited forts is that you will still find beautiful quartz rocks. Next, 1 kilometer on the road to Kargi village from the junction on an unpaved road goes to the left. A 5-minute walk on this path takes us to a jungle cover and a temple of goddess Saptashungi. A pathway from this temple leads to a small hill on which there is a flag mounted. Karga fort can be seen from here. There is a temple of goddess Bhavani and 2 water tanks behind it, which are now dried. Bishta fort, Fopira hill and Ajmera fort can be seen from the top of Karga. You can find a couple of rock-cut steps towards the top of this hill. See a small flag on top there. Not much remains on top of this barren hill. Then next, the beautiful premises of the Pahadeshwar temple of the Ajmera Sondani village is the base of this fort. One can find remnants of the bastion and fortified wall to the right. There is a Shiva temple which is in ruins, a flag mounted area on top from the regions where Karga Bishta fort can be seen. There's a small temple here on the Ajmera hill, as well as some rock-cut reservoirs there and a flag waving toll on a toll mast. Then the final one is Dunda. Not much is known on these forts from historical records. As these forts stand away from the main mountain range, they might have been used as a watchtower, mainly to keep an eye over the surrounding region. Local villagers call this fort as Dundeshwar Maharaj Mountain, and a village fair is held there on every Monday on the Shravan month of the lunar calendar. We can see a small temple here on the way up the hill, as well as some building where one specific yogi was meditating. Then finally, returning back to Nasik, we go towards the final fort in this range, Ramshesh Fort, located north of Nasik city. Has been historically significant. History has it that the fort was attacked by Mughals, Aurangzeb's army, and his commanders threatened the Maratha kingdom, saying that they would capture the fort in hours. Shivaji Maharaj's son Sambhaji and his army resisted these attacks for almost 6 years. Unimaginable. One can find the references to this battle well fought by brave Maratha warriors from Mughal letters. Here we can see rock-cut steps again leading to the top of Ramshesh Fort, where you will also find a newer building there with a small temple and one Baba staying in the temple. Fort is pretty much in, well visited state, given its proximity to Nasik. You can see some of these old fortifications and walls and lookout towers on side of the hill. Here a top view on Ramses Fort, very flat on top with multiple reservoirs and a little bit of vegetation. Some rock paintings on the way and some big rock cut reservoirs. I took a small video on top of the fort regarding minimalist fast hiking. Let me play the short video.
Hello there guys, a quick educational video on what to backpack as an ultra runner or a fast-paced hiker in the mountains, or in this case Maharashtra, climbing 200 forts, Shivaji forts in the Sahyadri range. So I carry very small 10-liter backpack here. This one is Quasha, but any brand will do. In terms of night shelter, which is the main component of my luggage, I just carry a lightweight, very warm isolative mat. And as I said, most of what I carry is actually for the cold nights. One is a compact 600 gram 15 degree sleeping mat, sleeping bag, which keeps me warm when I camp on top of the mountains or the forts in the winter months when it's windy and chill. The villages mostly you don't even need it, a blanket will do. Additional protection in case of rain and very cold weather is a one-person tent called bivy. It's like a kind of a mummy that is weatherproof, also has an insect and mosquito reptile nets to keep you safe even in the wild. Apart from that, of course, I carry my phone. My phone is the main navigational device to find my way, has the complete offline maps of Maharashtra in this case, with some GPS routes of more than 300 forts. I also use it a lot for photography. So typically every day I recharge the phone with my chargers. While I eat or while I take a break, immediately I plug it in wherever power is available. And this gives me 70% of power in just 30 minutes. Right now I'm biking between forts, which are a bit distributed. Initially I was running through trails connecting forts. For biking in the mornings and evenings you'll need a lightweight wind jacket to keep you warm. And then apart from that, there is not much more. A little bit of food, very important for daily use, is my teeth brush. And then just as a backup, not really used often, is a 10,000 mAh power bank in case I run out of power, so I can keep going without interrupting. So voila, that's it. Happy hiking.
Voila, that was it for the Selbari-Dolbari mountain ranges in the northern Nasik side. You can find all the webinars on my blog, as well as a lot of other information, ultrajourneys.org. Stay tuned, we'll be descending south next to the mountain range west of Nasik called the Trimbak range. See you guys tomorrow.